Hey everyone, wanted to talk about anxiety, mental health because today's Let's Talk Day. Um, a lot of you know me as I am now, but the person that I used to be was very much different, and I suffered from a lot of anxiety, which I never really called it that, but basically I worried a lot, all the time about everything. And because I worried so much and I had so much fear, it really stopped me from, being myself, putting myself out there into the world, speaking up for myself. I would conform and try to be who other people wanted me to be. And I'm sharing this because when I look back on my life and how I've changed so much and so drastically, and I don't say that in a fear way, but meaning very opposite of who I used to be, I realized that me having all that worry and anxiety really actually helped me to move past that fear. Now, before I go on, I'm not taking away any, saying like diminishing anyone's anxiety or mental health at all. This is just sharing my story, and everyone's story is different, and we're all on our own journeys. So I was in a really dark place, and this, like even from childhood, I very much didn't want to be seen or heard. I just wanted everyone to like me, and I didn't speak my mind. And as I grew older, the fear and the judgments became stronger and stronger for me. And what happened was eventually I got to this point in my life where I was in a job that I didn't enjoy. Although I loved the people I worked for, I didn't enjoy the work I did. I wasn't happy. And one day I was driving to work and I had an anxiety attack. So I had never had that before, a panic attack, whatever you want to call it. But it scared me so much because I was driving a car while I couldn't breathe and I didn't know what was happening. And because of that really strong reaction of thinking, oh my gosh, I could have hurt someone. I could have crashed this car. I could have hurt someone. I could have hurt myself. It caused me to make a change in my life. So I had to get in this darker place and have everything kind of get bigger and bigger for me to wake up and think, oh my gosh, I have to do something about this. So that's why I say it saved me, because I had to experience these all this fear and worry and have this anxiety attack while I was driving to get me to make a change in my life, to seek help. And I did seek help. I started to, reach out to people who I knew that I could trust that would help me to, go deeper with what was happening to me inside, right? Why was I worrying so much? Why did I care so much what other people thought? Why did I have so many judgments about myself? Why could I not be my real self out in the real world? So having that anxiety pushed me to the point where I seek the help, and I learned to love myself, and I learned to trust myself. And that took time. I really had to work on it every single day. There's no quick fix for it. It's a very small step-by-step thing that we do every day in our life, and while we're still having the anxiety and the worries, because I was still having it, but I was working towards reducing it. And I started to learn coping strategies and things that when my anxious feelings and my worries came up, I knew what to do, what to say to myself to bring me back to a state of calmness. Because when you've had this for years and years and years, it really puts a lot of stress on your body. And like I had this adrenal fatigue, and I was very burned out, and I was really unhappy and resentful in my life, and it was just affecting everyone around me. So when I learned to, I had like some people in my life that really were believing in me, and I didn't believe in myself, but over time, I had people start to believe in me. So it's really about taking those small steps, reaching out for help and support. And that help and support, having a counselor or a therapist, I'm not saying it's not good, definitely, if that resonates with you. But it didn't resonate. Like, I'm not saying I didn't reach out and do that here and there, but it didn't resonate for me on a long-term basis. What resonated for me was connecting with my inner self, my spirituality, just connecting that I was not alone. So I always felt like I was alone. And even though I had family that loved me, I felt alone. But when I connected with my spiritual self and with spirit, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, then I started to not feel alone. And I felt like I always had, there was this higher power looking out for me, supporting me. So when I had those anxious feelings, I would just have that conversation. Like, today I'm feeling this way, and I would just surrender and hand it over. And, that, I'm not saying that got rid of the anxiety. However, it did help. It did help. And I really had to keep taking these small steps every single day and believing in myself. There's no quick fix for it, but I truly want it. My message is to everyone can do it. We all have it within us. And I believe that we are here to experience like a wide range of emotions and experiences, and some of them can be very dark and scary, and you can feel all alone and separate. And it's really important to reach out to someone who will understand you, who will validate you, and will support you into looking at your feelings and what are those feelings that are going on inside that you maybe aren't even acknowledging. And as you do this, you become more self-aware, and you learn to like change that narrative that's going on in your head, right? So I had a lot of like, I'm not enough, and nobody's going to like me unless I am who they think I am. And so many people have this, so many people, and that creates all this anxiety. And then getting in a room full of people, it just like freaked me out. So, and then I would numb out, right? You drink or you smoke or you do something to calm you down, but that's not help. That didn't help me, because it really was just masking the pain. So when I connected to my higher power and I learned to speak to myself like I would speak to a small child, because truthfully I was speaking to my inner child, and tell myself, you're doing your best. You can do this. It's okay that you're feeling not enough, or you're feeling envious, or you're feeling shame. Instead of beating myself up, because I think that I personally created my anxiety to even be worse than what it was because of what I was saying to myself, right? And the worrying, I would worry like about so many things, and they never even happened. So when I started to really look at it from a closer point of view, that's when I started to see how I was creating this myself. And I could have like beat up myself for creating this myself or what I was saying, but I didn't. I was taught, and I learned that the most important thing I can do is love myself. Love myself no matter how I show up, no matter what I do, whether it's amazing and perfect and great, or it's awful and totally messed up and the worst decision. It doesn't matter how I show up. I'm still worthy, I'm still lovable, and the most important thing is I need to love myself. Whether I'm a worrier or I'm not a worrier, I still have to love myself. And this goes for anyone who's watching this. So the shortcut that I found, because even though I was doing this, I would still get stuck in my head, replaying scenarios over and over again, things that had already happened. I would think about how I could have done it or said it, or things that may have are going to happen, or like make up things that might happen, and replaying all that. So like it was really hard to turn my brain off. So what I found when I was starting to work on, connecting to my inner self and to my intuition, is to take a chance, take a risk, and I created the Soul Adventure game. So the Soul Adventure game, this is it. You may or may not have heard of it, but the reason why this game has helped me and so many people so much is because it helps us to move out of our head and into our heart. And it helps us to create positive self-talk. So many of us have that negative self-talk going on in our life, and we don't even realize that's what we're doing. Or we say, oh, you're so stupid, or you should have done it this way, and you never do it right, or things go wrong, and you're like, why me? Why does this always happen to me? Like, I've done this, right? And so many people I know can relate because I've had many conversations about it. And when you do something that's light and fun and resonates with you, and it's your truth, and it doesn't take a long time, that's my shortcut. Because I found that I was really busy, right? I was a mom, I was an entrepreneur, I was a friend, I had a house to take care of. When did I have time to take care of myself? I didn't make the time because I didn't feel worthy of it. But as I learned to make the time for myself, that time was still a small amount of time. So in playing the Soul Adventure game, I did learn that it doesn't have to take a long time to focus on yourself and to learn to practice these positive self-talk. So that's what the game does, is it takes 10 minutes a day, and you creating this positive message, and you're practicing listening to your intuition. And then you're also gently being guided to take inspired action. And you're not allowed to beat yourself up if you don't take that action. You actually just love yourself no matter what, like I said. But it's about learning to do all these things that I just mentioned in a very small bite-sized piece that we can handle. And we just focus on one little thing a day. So it takes the anxiety about the big, huge picture out of the way, and you just focus on this little piece each day. And when you do that, whether it's with the game or it's with another modality or another way that works for you, it doesn't matter. It's the point that every single day you have a choice and how you speak to yourself, in how you what you say to yourself when you're having maybe a reaction of anxious feelings, or maybe feeling really depressed and dismal. I had that too. And you'd feel like, oh, there's no hope, I'm such, there's no way out, all these things. So either way, when you can work on this little small piece, it takes the overwhelm out of the way. So that's the shortcut for me, and for many people that I found is really, really helpful. And it's fun, because when you do something light and fun, there is no judgment, right? You see kids playing in their imagination. They're not judging how they're playing. They're just playing, and they're having fun, and their imaginations are coming in. And when we can do that, that's where we can really tap into our heart space. So if there's anything that I can do to support you, if you want to learn more about the Soul Adventure game, just message me, or let me know. If there's anything I can do and you want to have a chat about what you're experiencing, please let me know, and we can have like a 10-minute chat and talk about it. I'm happy to support, because I understand how it feels. I truly do. That was my whole life. I'm almost 50 years old, and I never started to really tap into this till I was in my 40s. So it's never too late, whether you're younger or older. It's never too late to focus on yourself. And anxiety and depression and mental health does not have to be forever. I'm a testament of that. Like it still pops up sometimes for me, but it doesn't control my life anymore, and it doesn't have to control your life either anymore. So thank you for listening. Whoever's on, please make a comment, put replay if you're watching the replay, and let's talk about it. Don't stay silent. Talk about it with a trusted friend, and you will feel better. Mwah.